The following episode of Rolled Up is brought to you by the generous support from the following: Scooter World, Payless Car Rental, Pacific Extreme Combat, IT&E, and Show Your Old Brand, Rebels Against the Mainstream.
Manot to git gisan hilo imanam ko na to lang siya. Sa inti na iman mataw, iman mofo na nataw-taw. Ni man matto giman fine na nanasak man siya. Inti na iman ay nan mami, sa inti na imanam ko na to lang siya. Taigwe na moho.
When Magellan first anchored his sails off the sandy coast of Guam in 1512, he had discovered an island paradise and an ancient people. Fringed by majestic rock cliffs and nested with mangrove swamps, this spot of land was home to the native Chamorro for 4,000 years before Spanish ships and colonists opened its shores to the rest of the world. Located in the western Pacific Ocean, Guam was ceded to the United States after the Spanish-American War in 1898 and later became a territory. It was American forces that liberated the island from Japanese invaders during the Second World War. Today, its equatorial climate and ambrosial surroundings serve as a popular winter getaway for Japanese tourists. With its mild seas, year-round warmth, and tropical lifestyle, Guam is not only the place where America wakes up, but where travelers and adventure seekers from all over the world rise to meet the sun as well. So, Vince, tell me about Jiu-Jitsu on Guam.
Jiu-Jitsu on Guam is growing and it's doing really, really well. There's a bunch of gyms. A lot of the guys have some big passion for the sport. It's becoming a part of the local lifestyle, and we're just proud to be a part of the growth and the movement of Jiu-Jitsu on the island.
I was talking to somebody the other night, and he said that, well, people may not know that Guam's a very small island, but he was saying that there's 30 different gyms. Some of them might be backyard gyms or garage gyms or whatever. But as far as the main academies, have you trained at many of them here?
I've trained with in one shape or form. I've usually trained from someone from that gym, or whether it be one of the instructors or friends of the instructors. It's a small island, so everyone's kind of trained with everybody in one time or another. And now everyone kind of has their own gym or where they work out at normally. And that's kind of how I've kind of been able to train with different people from other gyms locally.
And you trained in America as well. How do you contrast the training? Is there any big differences here?
It's just, for the most part, I think here, just like any other small town or small area, the local people that train, they have a strong passion for it, and they train really, really hard, and they're really dedicated to getting better, and their level of jiu-jitsu is really, really good for being such a small island. And I think that's just because people really focus, they really want to get good. And in the mainland, it's a little different because sometimes you might have one or two people that really want to get good at jiu-jitsu, but for the most part, probably 60 to 80% of the people that are in the gym are just doing it for a hobby, or they're just doing it to exercise.
Let's shift gears for a minute and talk about Show Your Roll. Did you start Show Your Roll on Guam?
The ideas and the concepts originally started from Guam. We were inspired by local people and local brands that were coming up, and so the idea and the mission started here on Guam. And then eventually, right when I moved out to California in '99, 2000, that's when we started to put together some of the groundwork to get Show Your Roll up and going.
So you say it's inspired by Guam. What does that mean?
Just the local lifestyle, the people, just the way to kind of position yourself and how to treat people and how to carry some of those ideas and other angles into a brand. The way that the people live and the way that people treat people is a big mission on the way that the brand's perceived and the way we try and at least treat some of our customers and everything else. So.
Feet on the island just under 12 hours, my first stop is Spike 22. Unorthodox by most standards, this Nova União gym is a hardcore throwback with old-school sensibilities. Check your ego at the swinging gate, bring plenty of guts, but leave your white gi at home. Down and dirty is no hyperbole found in this backyard school, where I trained with Joey Calvo, one of the first people to bring jiu-jitsu to Guam. With it hot enough outside to see your sweat sizzle on the mat, and the only shower in sight, a garden hose in the corner, one thing was clear: we certainly weren't in Kansas anymore.
I started doing jiu-jitsu back in 1994. I was living in California. Started training under Carly Gracie. And after a little while, Hal Gracie opened up his academy closer to where I was living, so I moved over there and was training with Hal for about 6 months and moved back to Guam. And back then in early 1995, there were only about 3 of us training jiu-jitsu on Guam. And we basically had a couple mats in the garage, and we were learning from, we were buying VHS tapes, and so we were learning new techniques. And after a little while, we started recruiting different athletes on Guam, joining wrestling teams and the judo team on Guam, just because we were so hungry to train. And it slowly, the interest in jiu-jitsu started to grow slowly. And then Ensign Inoue came and actually cornered a fighter at an MMA fight here. And we met Ensign, and we opened up a gym under him. And then once that started, jiu-jitsu just blew up on Guam. For the level of jiu-jitsu to move up, there has to be those competitions, the rivalries. It's happening in Brazil, it's happening in the States now. And you see Guam is just a microcosm of what's going on all over the world. A lot of the Brazilians, when they come to Guam, they feel like it's that grass level local feeling that they got before they left Brazil, as opposed to living in California. They come here and we shower with a hose in a trash can back in the back corner, and it's a real grassroots type of thing. No air conditioned, open air gyms. I always love to roll with guys of different styles, different levels, and I feel that's really the way to get better. I've been lucky enough to get to travel to different gyms, from training here to training at ATT in Coconut Creek, different gyms in California. And it's just, it's really about the players in the gym and the vibe you get and the type of training you get. And, we're getting so many kids now who've started doing jiu-jitsu when they were 6 years old, 8 years old. And, I think the future is really bright. It's a sport that the locals can really grow into and excel at, because, you don't need to be 6 feet tall, 240 pounds and run a 4.40. It's something where you can get in shape and learn the techniques and excel at in a world-class level.
The next stop on my circuit across Guam is the Carlson Gracie Gym. Recognized by the Carlson Gracie Federation and helmed by head instructor Gabe Baker, this jiu-jitsu hotspot has steadily spawned some of the toughest competitors on Guam since it was founded in 2003. Shoei Roll-sponsored player Mike Carbolito is one of those athletes.
I got into jiu-jitsu at the age of 13. I was looking into the newspaper, and I was looking at the martial arts sports page, and I came across the Carlson Gracie Jiu-Jitsu Academy on Guam, and I actually really wanted to get into fitness. I really wanted to get into fitness, really wanted to learn a martial arts sport, and ended up coming to the academy and never stopped from there. Training here at the Carlson Gracie Academy, it's good. I learned from Gabe, my instructor. I've been learning a lot of techniques, and then I recently moved out to California and San Diego and trained under Rodrigo Medeiros, Clark Gracie, Joel Tudor, and the training out there is incredible as well. Everyone, in the Carlson Gracie family, everyone's close, so like Rodrigo, the late Carlson Sr., Jr., everyone, where everyone's a family, so I guess it's more of the loyalty part, so that's what it means to me.
Training with New Breed Academy over in the Philippines, and I ended up meeting up Carlson Sr., Carlson Jr. in the Philippines for a seminar. So I was out there for a week with them. They came to Guam, and it happened from there. We had a seminar here, and just kept friends. And I traveled out to Chicago a couple of times, and they offered me the academy. The funny thing about it, everybody always asks me how come I'm so diehard Carlson Gracie team. I think to me it was more of just the training. It was more of the being with Senior and him treating me as a person versus versus just anybody else. I wasn't a black belt at the time when I got the academy. I was a blue belt when I opened it up, and it was just him. It didn't matter what color belt I was. I was a human, and I was going to be there to train for him, and that's what keeps me Carlson Gracie.
Yeah, Carlson Gracie tattoos, the Bulldogs, So got those guys on my chest, so I don't think I can be going anywhere. I actually got sponsored by Shoei Roll about a year ago, a little less than a year. I've actually known Bear from the island, being from the island of Guam, but when I recently moved out to California, I was training in San Diego, I would go up to LA and train at the Shoei Roll studio, and from there, Bear, he asked to do a sponsorship, and after a couple tournaments, and ever since then, yeah, it's been good. This past year, 2011, I competed in the Abu Dhabi Trials, San Diego. I placed first in my division, ended up losing in the finals, last couple seconds to a sweep, got second place. Ended up doing the Pan Ams next. I won first place in my division. Then I did the Worlds. Ended up getting third place, losing in the semifinals. I did the U.S. Nationals, ended up winning that one. And then I did the U.S. Open, ended up winning the U.S. Open, Phoenix Open. I won the Phoenix Open as well. And yeah, that was pretty much my sum up in my year of 2011. 2012, I have I know coming up Abu Dhabi Trials in San Diego again, so hoping to win that one now, new belt. So I'm hoping to do good in that one, hopefully get the ticket. And then after that, all the other tournaments from there.
Guam's we're 30 miles long and 8 miles wide, and we got like 7 academies here in Guam, so it's kind of crazy. It's pretty big.
Other than the island itself, how beautiful it is, and how incredible the people here, everyone's so nice. The jiu-jitsu, I feel is just as good as everyone out there. I mean, may not have all the tools, as much black belts as everyone out there, but I feel everyone on Guam has that that not that pride, but that I don't know how you say it, island strength. How the island strength come from a very strong background of ancestors, and so I feel we all have the heart, just like everyone else out there, So I feel the one thing we have is the heart, coming from the island, little island of Guam,
No jiu-jitsu tour through Guam would be replete without a visit to the Purebred Gym. Vanguard of the sport, Purebred was the first established gym on the island and is operated by Ensign Inoue black belt Steve Roberto. Boasting 2 locations and more students than any other gym in the territory, Purebred prides itself on perpetuating the progeny of jiu-jitsu with a special emphasis on their children's program.
Man, I started jiu-jitsu in 1996. It was, formerly was, going to the Ralph Gracie Academy in Mountain View. And it was the original academy in Northern California, and I was just petrified. I had no idea why I was going to be there, or had no inclination of doing jiu-jitsu. And it was kind of like by accident helping somebody out with a ride, and ended up going there and discovering jiu-jitsu kind of by accident. When I came to Guam, there was just a small crew of us. There was some guys that had been training abroad, and when they came back from college or whatever, they'd come back and we'd all get together and train. The first formal instruction we had on the island was when Ensign Inoue came to Guam in '97. He's a tough teacher in a sense where he wants you to always understand first and foremost that your mind is going to break before your body does. And there were times where I didn't know the meaning of hard training, and he had to let me understand that in so many ways. But some people might not agree with it, but he made me what I am today. He brought a lot of his thinking, to how he fought, and now that I understand that, he doesn't want you to quit, and he wants you to understand that there's nothing that's impossible for you. If you put your mind to it, you can do it. And that was one of the biggest things I took away from his training, and some cauliflower ears. It was a work in progress, and it was a struggle, but it was so fulfilling. Like when you're young and you first get caught into jiu-jitsu, you just can't stop. You just want more and more and more. It's so addictive. So it was good, but it was an adventure in itself. So yeah, we've been blessed to have a lot of guys, really take the time to come this far out here to Guam. We started out with BJ Penn, coming out a couple times. I've had guys like George Soteropoulos, Rafa and Guilherme Mendes. We've been blessed to have those guys from the Atos team. We had Claudio Calasanz, Bruno Frazzato, and man, a handful of really good Japanese black belts that have, just so happened to be vacationing on Guam and knew that there was a purebred and came to train and made it like a training vacation. Bringing those guys here to Guam is the next best thing to going to Brazil and training at. I mean, even some guys in Brazil can't get to train with Rafa and Guilherme. So when they come here and we're able to provide that service for my students, and these guys, they come out in full force and they're very, very appreciative. So they get to see what that high level of jiu-jitsu is like, because not everybody gets to see it. So I guess we're blessed for that. Man, Guam it's the most beautiful place in the world. It's got the most friendly people. We've got the best food, and we have a great passion for jiu-jitsu. So if you like any of those things, Guam is definitely your place to, come and recharge your batteries, and at the same time have a good, enjoy a good, active, healthy, positive lifestyle, the way the Guam people like to do it. The ancient Chamorros, the local people of Guam they're a fighting culture. I think that's in the blood. people are just kind of coming off the whole MMA hype, so they kind of want to, they're accepting jiu-jitsu as an acceptable way, or like a more mainstream way of physical fitness, and because it's such a tight-knit community, when you have something that's positive like jiu-jitsu, everybody comes and backs it up. Like, oh man, my nephew's doing jiu-jitsu, and oh, my daughter's doing jiu-jitsu, and oh, so-and-so went to go compete off island and represent the island, and so everyone gets behind it, and it gets that positive backing. If we could get just the community to be a better place through jiu-jitsu, like making these guys, live a healthy, positive lifestyle, getting the kids to do something constructive while they're young and understand the opportunities that jiu-jitsu brings, that would be great. On the other side, man, I'd love to see a black belt world champion, from Guam. We've got some world champions in the other belt levels, and it's not going to be long. I can guarantee that someone from Guam is going to end up winning the world to the black belt sooner or later. So,
with the sun setting beyond the island, it's time to swing by the Zen Ultra Lounge, overlooking the Tumon Bay from atop the Royal Orchid Hotel. I'm meeting up with good friend Big John Calvo. Another influential pupil of Ensign Inoue, John is considered an elder in the jiu-jitsu and MMA scene on Guam. In addition to status as local legend, he also enjoys a career as a prominent graphic artist. So a lot of people don't know that you're one of the forefathers of jiu-jitsu on Guam. Tell us how you got it started.
Oh man, I wouldn't even say I'm the forefather. I think I got started in jiu-jitsu from my cousin Joey Calvo and a guy named Dan Connor and Caesar Witt. Those are the guys who I first started doing jiu-jitsu with. But Joey Calvo was the guy who initially turned me on to jiu-jitsu.
And what was next? Did you meet, was Ensign the next chapter?
Yeah, I think we were training with Dan and these guys. Like, there were no real teachers on Guam, Dan was a blue belt and Joey was a white belt. And we had all the Ralph Gracie and Craig Cook tapes, you know what I mean? We were trying to just drill off of that. And TJ Thompson of the Super Brawl came to Guam, and I don't know why, man. I just went like bungee jumping. I thought I was training hard at the time, but I wasn't. And I signed up to fight the Super Brawl because I was having fun with jiu-jitsu, and that's how it happened. I won a tournament, and the following year we had another Super Brawl, and then I met Ensign. Ensign came out and brought his fighters, Tetsuji Kato, and I think it was just Kato that was fighting at the time, and then I got to meet Ensign. And I guess Ensign was gaining some momentum in the jiu-jitsu world, or his brother was, and then, he was so close by to Japan that they said he can come over often. And he kind of gave us a free seminar, and it clicked, and that's how I got started.
And you ended up moving to Japan, right?
The following year, yeah, I ended up moving to Japan.
Were you training with Ensign the whole time?
Training with Ensign. I was living with Ensign. After a year, I was just pretty much getting beat up for like a year. Then after the year, everything was better. I had lost weight. I was faster, stronger, older, and that's how I got started.
What was the MMA training like in Japan at that time?
I don't know about other gyms, but training with Ensign was just it was brutal, man. Like I said, I think, we'd go so hard at the gym, that's what it was like. The actual regimen, like what were we doing?
Sure.
5 at 5. We'd do 5 miles at 5 a.m. We'd start with that, and then we would do, rest up, and then we'd do some kickboxing in the afternoon, or some jiu-jitsu or wrestling, depending on what coach you had set up or who was coming by. And we would do Vale Tudo every first of the week. So every Monday was just hard training, and it was just like tape up, gloves, and mouthpiece, and just bite down as hard as you can and just go for it. And then the rest of the week I would be training jiu-jitsu with all the guys that he had teaching there, and then after 2 years I started to teach jiu-jitsu.
So you come back to Guam, and somehow a purebred gym pops up. How did that develop?
That the whole time we were living in Japan, we were spending a lot of time here too. It just seemed like the right thing to do. When I was training with Ensign, we needed a place to train while here on Guam. The whole time I was up there, I was on a tourist visa, so we were traveling a lot. I had to leave the country every 90 days. So for the first 2 years, we'd come home to Guam every 90 days, and I'd stay for 3 weeks. And then I had guys who were running daily training. I'd come home and run the training. Ensign would come with me, and you know, the training was split between jiu-jitsu and the guys who wanted to fight, you know, MMA, you know. So but the foundation, I would say, was jiu-jitsu, but the gym sort of had a reputation for being an MMA gym. You know, and Ensign was, you know, Ensign liked to always come and rough up the guys and stuff like that. So yeah, they had a reputation for like hard training, and you know, guys, there's always noses being broken or broken ears or cuts and stuff going. So a lot of bloodshed down at the first purebred. But we were doing good until you know, me and Ensign just sort of discontinued our relationship, you know, and then that's what happened.
So at that time, when it was just starting, was that the biggest and best gym on the island?
We were the only gym.
The only gym.
Yeah. So there was a couple other backyard gyms, but no one else was. You know, you couldn't get jiu-jitsu at any other place, or mixed martial arts, or even anybody who was even connected into the jiu-jitsu or mixed martial arts world. You know, at the time, Japan was the mecca of mixed martial arts before the big, you know, UFC explosion in the Vegas and the big, and all the best teachers from Brazil moving over to the West Coast. You know, so you know, being so close to Japan, it was just like a, you know, like a train ride. You know, and yeah, we had a lot of fun because we would host all the Japan fighters, and I was a big mixed martial arts fan. So you know, we would always have guys coming from Japan like Rumina Sato and Kato and Maha, you know, Sakurai and Sakuraba. I mean, you name it. You name every major Japan fighter at that time would stop in and hang out at our gym, you know, which was my gym at the time, you know. So,
what do you think about the jiu-jitsu scene in Guam these days?
I think it's cool, man. I think it's a lot of politics. I think, you know, I think the guys are people. I remember before always reading in the magazines people complaining about the politics of jiu-jitsu in America or Brazil, and it's funny. I think Guam is it's just like that. I guess the way it was, maybe the way it still is. I don't know. You know, but there's also a lot of quality guys here, but yeah, I think it's good.
When I'm competing, it's my favorite time of my entire life. You know, it's my opportunity to really put together everything that I've been practicing and everything that I've been working on. It's the chance for me to show that, you know, I know what I'm doing, and regardless, it's very, very honest. So if I win, even if I lose, I'm always going to be able to walk away a better fighter and a better jiu-jitsu player, and hopefully a better coach as well. But I really think that competition just makes you a tougher person overall. Brazilian jiu-jitsu in my life is everything to me. This really isn't just a sport. This is my life. This is my culture. My name is Ryan Hall, and I am Shoyoroll.
The story of Luis Regis is at once exceptional and inspiring. Life's most challenging trials have confronted him and his twin brother off the mats. For years, the soft-spoken, 27-year-old island-born brown belt Luis balanced bouncing back and forth between home and the mainland to train with top-tier competitors, care for his ailing sister, and preserve the family after the death of his mother. When he returned to Guam to establish a school of his own, he came carrying a different matter of measuring stick. His new academy, Universal Alliance, has positioned itself firmly on Guam and represents the future of jiu-jitsu on the island. Luis is proof that success in jiu-jitsu doesn't always come dressed in a black belt. By forming sharp bonds with his students and underscoring individual growth as the defining magnitude of triumph, he's proven that achievement is just as synonymous with running a quality school filled with passionate students as it is with championship medals.
Get on the boat with me, you'll see where scene. Found a way to make it better. Still can't erase the feeling. Relying on the root of the meaning. Why can't I reflect the beat? Forming samples line the sheet. Standard set, now I agree. Hope surrounds my dignity tree. Out on the shore, waiting to open the door. I see your face, how can I get there? You're on a wave of emotion. Burn down my sound system. Why can't I reflect the beat? Forming samples line the sheet. Standard set, now I agree. Hope surrounds my dignity tree. My can't get you out of my head. Can't get you out of my head. I was walking down the road.
The reward for a day hard spent training in Guam is no empty purse. In fact, the merits are quite filling. After a pensive workout with Lewis, it's time to honor another native tradition and indulge in some customary island barbecue. Tonight, the menu includes, but is not limited to, spare ribs, red rice, and fenadeni sauce, all served alongside good friends with plenty of laughs for sharing.
After all, we're only people going by. We're only people going by.
So Lewis, I heard you have some good De La Hiva techniques.
I hope so.
Let's check them out.
Try it out. If you're gonna play spider guard, not too square. They like to keep 1 foot in front, just like that. Straight. I'm gonna kick this out. Got the De La Hiva hook. I wanna turn the knee straight to my shoulder. I don't want it too flared out. That's how the knee pops. That's how you kill that hook. So once I kick out and I get the hook, I turn my knee straight. It kind of torques the knee to bend that way. Then I grab the heel, okay? And when I grab the heel, I turn the heel. I don't just cup it, I turn it to kind of help you turn the knee, okay? Now I gotta bridge over this foot, I bridge on the bicep. Bridge up, and I put my left hook across your hip. Still holding the heel, I'm turning the heel. Now when I let kick this too, I'm pull, and this pendulum is down. So I'm still on my left hip. I pendulum down, sweep. One time. Try to take some spider, the legs in front, I kick out. De La Hiva hook, turn it straight to my shoulder, grab the heel, turn it, make everything torque the knee. I bridge out the bicep, place the hook on his hip. As soon as I kick this through, I pull to break your posture. When I pull, I pendulum down, so you can fall, position, jump to the side.
Let's try one more time, Bill speed. So Lewis, tell me about your early life. when you were young, growing up on Guam? How was it for a typical Guamanian?
Everyone has those rough times, you know. I think I grew up pretty alright because pretty big family, you know, small house, so we tend to have a lot of rules and very grow up the hard way, you know. You tend to appreciate when you get older, or if you get stuck down the line, you tend to really appreciate it so much.
Were you doing jiu-jitsu by the time you moved to America?
Oh yeah, that's the reason why I went to America.
But you trained a little bit here first?
Oh yeah, started here in Guam.
Right. How was the training different?
Over here in Guam, it was more, it's like ego style, you know, like when we first started, the whole MMA scene was huge, so it was who was the toughest, who can hang, and the technique level of jiu-jitsu wasn't as high as it is in the States and Brazil. So to really get far, you really had to leave at the time. Nowadays, you don't have to leave, you know. Now everyone has so much passion for it, and the techniques have already been transferred over here, where people learn it, people drill it. So you don't have to really go to the States anymore, you know. And
you competed a lot while you were there, is that right?
When I went to check out Mark's school, I did the Grappler's Quest. I actually won Grappler's Quest, and I did the Pan Americans, and I got second. That was the beginning of the journey.
And why did you move back home?
I miss my family. It's hard. It's hard when you live in a suitcase, you know. When you're hungry, you're hungry. Over here, you're hungry, somebody feeds you. You know, it's all about family here.
Tell me a little bit about your family. What kind of hardships have you gone through?
I lost my mom 10 years ago to breast cancer. Besides that, the whole financial part, it's a struggle. I tend to wear the same clothes 2 years in a row, 3 years in a row. Like it's you don't get the new stuff, you know. I mean, but my parents always taught us it's as long as there's a roof over the head and food on the table, you shouldn't complain. So that was a hardship that was hard to deal with, you know. But it makes you a stronger person. When you hit the rock bottom, the only way to go is back up. So.
You opened an academy recently.
Yeah.
What was the reason for opening it?
I moved back home because my dad was by himself, and because my brothers all left to, you know, they had their own lives. They moved to Hawaii. The one's in the military, and then I moved back home to be with them. And on the way back home, me, my coach, and my friend decided to try to open a little spot just to give back and just try something different, you know. Just strictly jiu-jitsu, no MMA. Just really respect the art, and that's how it happened.
Do you think students need a world champion or a world famous guy as a teacher?
It helps, but I don't think so.
What is important?
It's just to have passion, man. I mean, before I moved back home, I was very scared that my jiu-jitsu was going to go downhill, because I did it the first time. The second time, I was kind of really scared. So as long as you have a strong mind and a strong heart, man, anything's possible. And I mean, some people, when you tend to appreciate it, you have hard passion, and your mind just stays strong, you know. Teeny passion, that's what it is.
How do you keep the passion on a daily basis?
I think for me, competing in the States, just thinking of the hardship just to get there, you know. Like, people in the States tend to take it for granted, you know. Like for me, when I went there, it's like I spent so much money to get here, and I had to travel, which is not cheap, buy food and all that, and you tend to like, man, I came this far, there's no way I'm not going out easy like this, you know. So when I come back home, I tend to try to teach that to the guys, you know. When you go to leave Guam and go to the States, you got a one shot, you know, so make that shot count.
All right.
So
you also had a good performance at the Abu Dhabi Pro.
Oh yeah.
Tell me a little bit about that experience.
It's just when I was in Abu Dhabi, man, everyone they're all game players, you know. They're all sick. Everyone there was no chump there for sure. Everyone there they're a world champion in this, that, this. So it was kind of scary at first, you know, thinking I came from an island and they're looking over the shoulder. But so, man, I'm human too. You know what I mean? And I train hard. I trained super hard for this, you know. I have a big heart, and so I can take these guys out too. Don't look over me because I'm raised in a small island, you know. You better be careful. That's what I used to say to myself when I was about to compete, you know, because you got to psych yourself up. If you lose mentally before you fight, then you lost already. As long as you have good confidence, not cockiness, just confidence, you know.
So Luis, what's the second technique?
It's a deep belly hiva to leg lasso and isolate that one side, and a sweep and try to take the back.
All right.
Try it out.
Yep.
So here the spider guard. Okay. Legs in front, I kick out. Got the dead eagle hook. So I turn the knee straight to my shoulder. Hold the heel. I bridge up. As soon as I get this hook, I put my arm, my elbow in front of the shin. And I get a cross grip. I pull. I leg lasso over. Hook the shoulder. I open my knee. As soon as I open my knee, this kicks down, becomes a hook. And jump to the back.
So have you and your brother always been on the same path?
No, only in growing up because we had no choice. It's football season, baseball season, baseball season. So not until we, of course, when my mom passed and when I started getting older and make our own decisions, and that's when we kind of separated on our own.
And did you start jiu-jitsu together?
Yeah, we did. It was actually both. Jiu-jitsu, MMA, it was both, so we both started together.
And you stayed on the jiu-jitsu path, but what happened to your brother?
He said on the MMA side, I mean, we both started jiu-jitsu MMA, and the gym I was at was bred for MMA, and we all did. I didn't complain about the MMA part, but the jiu-jitsu was interesting because here in Guam it was very hard to get promoted. Like, no one respected it, and it seemed impossible to get a blue belt. And for me, I wanted to conquer that goal, you know. And I think my brother went to the MMA side because the money, to make some money, and I said, man, I want to try to jiu-jitsu because no one wants to pursue to get a belt, you know. Like at that time, blue belt was like a black belt. Like it was so hard to get. So that was my goal, was to try to hit that goal. So that's how we went our separate ways, and it was kind of sad. Like when I went to the States, it was different. Like I'm so used to my brother being on the side. If we go to training, we go home, we try to practice it again. But every time I went home, I had no one there to practice with, you know. So that happened for a couple years, and there's a lot of times when I was training, I wish it was there. It's like, damn, man, I need a partner.
But now your brother's come back around, right?
Yeah. That's the blessing part, you know. Like when I moved back home, I was with my dad, and for some reason he felt the same way. Like here in Guam, it's, man, our family is number one, you know. Family values is very big, and when he came back home on a surprise, I guess. You know, he wanted my dad's getting older, and my dad's the biggest thing in my life so far, you know, until I die, I guess. But when he came back home, I was actually like emotional, because for so many years I helped so much people in jiu-jitsu, and it's like I couldn't show my brother that technique because we're separated, you know. And now that he's home, it's like, man, the fire's relit. It felt like the beginning part again, you know. So it's good. Even though we're at different belt levels, man, I still look at my eye, you know. It's just time, and that's just it, time.
So what's the last technique, Lewis?
Get the deep belly heave hook. I kind of grab a cross grip, and I just spin right under you to the X guard.
Sounds good.
Straight up. Spider, Del Hiva, one, and bridge up, hook. I get this in front. I cannot find this cross grip. So I'm gonna use this hand, I'm gonna spin inverted. I grab this leg, I spin, to the next one.
Tell me a little bit about your school. What kind of environment are you trying to create there?
Man, I mean, I just want the place to be a positive place. Like when we had an idea of opening up a school, I just said, man, I don't want to just to be the crazy gym or the full of champions gym. I want to have a place where people go to get away from problems, you know. Like I just want to learn and just be away and have fun and just keep it positive. Like when I came back, that was the first thing I wanted to implement. Everything was positive, no egos. and there's rules, you know. I mean, there's rules for everything. That way it's they're respected, and it's just like when you go to school, you gotta respect your teacher.
I trained at your place a few days, and I felt that it's a very warm, positive environment. The music is playing, everyone's having a good time, yet there's still a lot of respect.
Oh, for sure.
And you're younger than some of your students too.
Yeah.
How do you generate that respect without forcing it?
Man, I respect you, respect me, you know? Like, here in the islands too, it's just all about respect, you know? I look at everyone the same level, you know? So I don't put too much pressure on myself, or, you know, because I'm an instructor, it's like, oh, this and that. You know, you put your self-imposed pressure, and I don't like that. So I like to relax and have fun.
Wise words.
Yep.
For all my habitual traveling throughout the vast western Pacific region of the world, I'd somehow always allowed a particular island of modest stature to escape from my traveler's radar. Over the years, I'd become no stranger to tropical locales and island life of a dozen different degrees, so expectations prior to my arrival in Guam were relaxed. It didn't take long for them to be categorically exceeded. While I had anticipated paradisiacal surroundings and tempting temperatures, it was the Guamanian people that captured my imagination and swelled me with a gratifying humility. With hearts as warm as their waters of infinite summer, I was refreshed by the genuine constitution and humble disposition of the islanders. Scarcely had I witnessed such a pure jiu-jitsu lifestyle actualized. It mirrored and integrated the stalwart family culture of the island and repeatedly impressed upon me what a far-flung impact and widespread influence jiu-jitsu had over this comparatively small location. I can plainly say that I left Guam with more friends than I arrived with. I gained perspective too. Like the old adage, home is where the heart is, the people of Guam are evidence that it makes scant difference if you're a tiny island in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. There's an impetus to succeed and a love affair for the art, then physical boundaries and the complications of natural borders are easily consigned to dismissal. This island is their home, and jiu-jitsu is the heart of the island. Pride is parallel to performance. Conquest is conditional. Fulfillment is forever.